Hello, Ruth Power. We are live.
Hi Sam, how are you?
Well, I was all right, but I got a bit wet on my way into work. It's horrible today, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
it
all that
horrible
all that queuing was fine, wasn't it? But I don't really want to go to the supermarket now.
there? It is honestly, I was freezing. I had to put my winter cap. I've got my winter jumper on. Honestly, it's like spring
Shock.
never happened. I know. And you're in New Biggin, aren't you? Which is
Yeah,
back
near
of
Kirby Lonsdale.
Lonsdale, lovely part of the world. What's your favourite place to go out to eat in Kirby Lonsdale?
Um, when I do get to go out to eat, which isn't very often because I've got children, a rare treat is Hipping Hall. It is just outside Kirby Lonsdale, but we try and go there every year. And unfortunately, we just had it booked, and then there was a lockdown. So I'm really looking forward to doing that when things get back to normal.
Didn't that famous duo go to Hipping Hall to do their, the like a travelling duo of comedians, and they go around lots of restaurants. I'm sure they sat in Hipping Hall and had a
Oh,
meal.
I saw that.
Too. I've no idea what it's called. Somebody will tell me in the comments, I'm sure. But I seem to remember them seeing them do it, and I haven't been since for about 20 odd years. It was so
Well. I
posh.
think it will have changed since then. Yes.
Has it? Has it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
feel quite as intimidated now. Now, you've got, is it a family business? Am I right in saying that? I probably should check first.
Yeah, no, I'm Director of Business Development for Financial Management Bureau, which was named when it was set up in 1987. So it's sort of, we call it FMB now, really. Everybody just knows it as FMB. I don't even know if people know what it stands for. But yeah, and my sister and I have been, we're the main family members. There's two other directors. My sister Liz is MD. And it was her husband Wayne you were talking to last week on your lockdown. Didn't know if you know if there was that connection. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a small place, isn't it?
So small. It gets smaller every time I speak to a new person that knows somebody else or was married to somebody else.
Yeah. So we've got 4 directors. We've got Jill and Roger as well. And then we've got, a team of, I think we're at 28 at the moment, 29. So we've got financial planners who, are part of F&B, and we all follow a sort of consistent process. So it is a small business, but compared to a lot of financial advice firms, it's relatively large for some, compared to some other local firms.
Oh, I think 28 is quite loud. Sorry, I said loud because I could hear myself coming back again. Sorry, we've got a bit of a sound issue. I know that our internets aren't great today, and I'm sure the rain isn't helping. Now, they might not have heard, the local people might not have heard what FMB stands for, but they will know the building, won't they?
Yeah, we're just outside Kendal near the Travel Lodge. So people drive
past. Is that what you say
to
people near the Travel Lodge?
Well, initially we used to get a lot of people coming to us thinking it was a travel lodge, because obviously the signage isn't great, is it? You drive straight past it before you know it's there. But we've been there a long time, and although there's a signage and it does say financial planning, a lot of people say, "Oh, what do you do there?" So basically, it is independent financial advice, but it's got a more holistic approach to what we do. So we don't just sell an ISA or a product, we do actually provide an ongoing service, a bit like coaching, really, financial coaching, so that people make the best decisions at the right time, because that is actually more important than what you invest your money in the long run. It's doing the right thing at the right time. So it is really pertinent right now. I'm just going to reposition. I'm really not in the right. My left
is right and right is left.
I know it's really
I know I keep touching the wrong side of my head.
So so at the moment, obviously, it's just the markets and people's investments will be in turmoil. But the mantra that we sort of get over to our clients over and over and over is that, if you do invest, other than putting your money in cash, it is a long-term thing. There is no quick buck to be made. It's a long-term game. So thankfully, a lot of our clients are really understanding that, yes, things are dropped at the moment, but it won't last forever. And, if you look at the history of the stock markets, over a period of time, it will all be
it's never like that, is it? Yeah, it's never like that,
isn't it?
Yeah. You can't climb a smooth mountain. That's what a coach once said to me.
Yeah. And, I'm not actually one of the financial planners. I don't give advice. I do the sort of marketing and networking side of things. But obviously, I've been doing it a long time. You know, we're not Martin Lewis, money saving expert. You know, this is a great time right now to be looking at that. If you've got time, sit down and go through everything with a fine tooth comb, because everyone right now is looking for ways to save money or realizing that they can live without stuff. And we're all in different, that. Yeah, we're all in different boats at the moment, aren't we? I mean, some people out there, I don't want to be flippant about saving money right now, because there will be some people who are literally looking for any way to cut their outgoings as much as they can, as well as businesses. And it's really tough out there right now. But there are families that have got incomes coming in right now. I mean, thankfully, my husband hasn't been affected. And there's a lot of people still carried on working from home, doing things that, you know, the money is still flowing. So we've sort of thought, wow, gosh, we're saving a lot right now. You know, on some things we're saving a lot. We're saving a lot on the fripperies, the things other than obviously booze and food.
Going out is not a frippery. Yeah, going out is essential. And I had no idea how much I was spending on going out. Really had no idea.
Yeah, not so much for me, but it's like those little things that just add up over a month, like getting a coffee when I didn't really need one, or impulse purchasing of clothes and all that sort of thing. I mean, I haven't bought a single item of clothing for 2 months, I don't think. So it's a really good time to sit down right now and do a budget. And, you know, for those of us that were thinking, well, I can't afford to put more money in my pension, I haven't got any spare cash. Well, turns out you did. You know, if you really want to, yeah, you can.
I think, what do you think of those people? Not what do you think of those people? What would you say to those people who are maybe on furlough at the moment? Maybe they weren't enjoying their job that much. In fact, maybe they're enjoying their garden leave, you know, much more than they anticipated. And they're realizing they can actually live on 80% salary. Yeah. I know with tax and things, it can be about 86%, but it is still a cut.
This is such a good point, Sam. And one of the things that we do is cash flow modelling, like you would do for your business. You do it for your own personal life. You could do it yourself. It's, you know, basically a spreadsheet, but the one we use is quite powerful with a lot of visual tools. So, yeah, a lot of people think they've got a retirement date and it's whatever it says on their company pension scheme or state pension age, that's set in stone. But if you can afford to live on a lot less, then, you know, it could be that you could bring that forward. It could be that you're right. You could actually, those things that you were thinking, I would love to do this, but I can't afford it. I know we've had a client for a long time, and he's had his own business for quite a few years now, personal trainer, but he was working for a big corporate, and he didn't like it and he wanted to stop. So we did it's one of the first cash flow models my dad did, actually, back in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. And he decided, you know, we looked at how much money he had saved up. We looked at how much money he'd need to earn to cover the outgoings he had. So it's quite a good tool for just looking at what it is you want to achieve, what the goal is, and working out ways to afford it. So yeah, that is a good point. It's a really good time to think, right, I could make that change.
I could right now start on my own. Or what I'd underestimated really was how much you save by working from home, because I've barely used my car in the last 2 months. You know, you don't have to buy work clothes. You don't forget to take lunch in and then have to nip out at lunch. You don't go to the pub on the way home. Obviously, it's not speaking for me. So I think there's a lot of things that, and I also think being around an office full of people makes you do things like want to buy new clothes, want to do new activities, want to talk about your holiday.
Yeah, there's a couple
bit of peer pressure.
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. One is obviously taking the time to make a plan and a budget. That's the sort of practical side, but the emotional side is that behavioural science that applies to money so much, about, well, I deserve this, or oh, I've worked really hard this week, or, you know, it's all in your head really, because can you afford it? Do you really need it?
Because if somebody had said to us 3 months ago, you've no idea what's going to happen in 3 months' time, all these are going to happen, we probably wouldn't have even thought our businesses could survive. And yet actually, Our businesses are doing really well at the moment. So I think that we've got this limiting belief that if lots of things change, we won't be able to survive. And actually, we're just holding on to things that maybe we don't need. And I did once listen to a money coach talk about our beliefs around money.
Was Catherine Morgan?
No, it wasn't actually, but I will look her up. It was an American lady.
I was going to give you a couple of tips to look up.
Yeah, please do.
A couple of people that are really active online. Yeah, Catherine Morgan, especially for women. She does a podcast called In Her Financial Shoes, which is really useful, all about money psychology. And another guy called Neil Bage, he's a behavioural psychologist. He's really active on Twitter and LinkedIn, just generally around money and investing as well. So a couple of people.
What are the kind of negative emotions and associations people have with money that you see?
Well, I suppose there is the I deserve it mentality, but there's the also I don't deserve it mentality as well. But a lot of the things, fear is the biggest worry that people have. Fear of, have I got enough? If I spend this now, will I have enough later? And that's one of the great things about financial planning. We get to work with people and reassure them that they're not going to run out of money, or you are going to run out of money. So do something about it now. You know, that it's the knowing, isn't it? If you don't know, you're going to worry about it, because how can you fix a problem? You don't know whether it exists or not. So it's always better to find out the truth. You know, am I spending too much? What impact is this going to have? I suppose we've all got goals. It might be, I want to buy that car, I want to go on that holiday, I want to start that business. But everyone's long-term goal is to stop working at some point and be able to stop working. No matter how much you love your job, at some point you are going to have to take your foot off the gas.
Don't say that, Ruth.
So, you know, there's a series of goals in your life that you sort of hope to be financially secure enough to achieve. And the sooner you know whether you're on track for that, the better. So it's just finding out the truth. So the biggest thing we have really is people's fear. And sometimes the fear is stopping them from even taking that step to find out, because if you know, then you've got to do something about it. Well,
I think it is the unknown that keeps us awake at night, isn't it? It's the unknown that causes us to worry. I've done a few cash flow forecasts with our estate agency clients over the last few weeks, and actually they usually feel much better afterwards, even if it was a negative outcome, because at least they know.
You can do something. You can take control.
And also, the fear was probably much bigger than the actual reality as well. I think there's always going to be those people who bury their head in the sands, and you know, that's addressing that issue.
Well, that was another point I was going to make, actually. Unfortunately, that's a lot of people, because even before this situation, you know, in the last few years, quite a few of the big companies, I can't remember if it was MetLife, did some research about how much emergency cash people have. The catchy phrase, deadline to the breadline. So if everything got, you know, if the taps got switched off, how much money have you got readily available to pay your outgoings? And I think the average was 20-something days. That's scary. So
not even another month's salary then. And actually, I read something from the States that said 76% of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 76%.
And it won't be much different in this country. And I think if there's any lesson from this period, I mean, it's going to be tough coming out of it, and you might not be able to take the steps. Some people won't be able to afford to save or get an emergency cash fund together. But you know, this will force a lot of people to think, damn, I didn't have any backup plan. I mean, if you're self-employed, you've got no sick pay, you've got no death in service, you've got none of these things. And a lot of people won't have even life insurance. And there'll be a lot of people sitting there now thinking, damn, I wish I'd done that before. Because, you know, I don't know about you, but I fluctuate one day from thinking, oh, why are we all doing this? What's the point? To, damn, I'm going to die. You know, there's no happy medium. So, you know, just simple things like, you had Anthony on the other week, having a will in place, having life insurance. I think after this.
Would you like to, by the way, oh, sorry about the feedback. Would you like to just correct something that Anthony said that we talked about afterwards? Because he did say something he wasn't quite right on. That's Anthony Smith from Progression
Thrift. Life insurance. Yeah, I mean, I know everyone feels really negative about insurance, and right now, yeah, okay, your business interruption insurance. I mean, is that going to pay out? I don't know, but generally, life insurance companies have quite a good record. It is an unfounded belief that insurance doesn't pay out, especially life insurance or health and sickness insurance. But he mentioned suicide didn't pay out. That changed quite a long time ago. Obviously, there's a cool-off period because they don't want to encourage people to go out and take out policies and then take their own life. So I think I mean, I might be wrong now, but it's something like, depends on the policy, but maybe 6 months, a year. But yeah, it's a mental health issue. So like any other illness, or, it would pay out. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and I know it is a general sort of negativity around insurance, but for the majority of cases, it does pay out if you've been honest in the in the application process, then it's fine. But yeah, a lot of people will be thinking, oh gosh, I haven't got my mortgage protected if something happened to me. I haven't got any income protection. So at the moment, there are extra restrictions because inevitably, if you're going to take out life insurance now, they're going to want to make sure you don't cough, you haven't got any symptoms.
It's your fault. It's your fault. You just said symptoms.
Because it's a massive additional risk for life insurance at the moment.
Yeah.
I have critical illness insurance. I mean, it would pay. Obviously, it pays out on death, whatever the circumstances. I've got critical illness and life insurance, but for the critical illness, I don't think the COVID would be listed as one of the insured illnesses, because I don't think flu's on there. So if I was to get it and have some, brain damage or something as a result, it probably wouldn't pay out. But insurance companies are businesses at the end of the day, and they can only quantify known risks. And at the point in time I took that insurance out, that was the terms and conditions. So
it's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now we talked about the idea of a money makeover. Do you have specific steps that somebody should take to do a makeover of the money?
There is like a Maslow's pyramid of
pyramids.
And that we've talked about two of the things already, really. And as I said, there's no quick fix. You have to make some difficult decisions to save money. But I guess I might not get to go on holiday this year. What will I do with that money? I need a new kitchen. I've been whining about it for years. So your Maslow's pyramid obviously starts with that emergency cash fund at the bottom. That before anybody starts putting money away or saving up for something else, they really need to have some cash in the bank for. And it just gives you choices, doesn't it? It's like you say, if you do get made redundant, it gives you, if you've got 3 months emergency cash, it just gives you a bit more. You don't necessarily have to take the very first thing or panic. You've got some options. But if you were, say, long-term sick or you got made redundant, 3 months emergency cash won't last long. So that's where your protection comes in. And it might not kick in for 3 months. Say it was income protection to cover long-term sickness, then it might be that your policy will be cheaper if it doesn't kick in for 6 months, because if you work out that your employer gives you 6 months full salary, then you don't need it for 6 months. So it's quite a complicated analysis that you would need to do to get it right. But something is better than nothing. Lots of people say, well, how much life insurance do I need? Well, we would sit down and do a cash flow model, but you're just going to have to put a finger in the air, and it's better than nothing. So that's your sort of your protection is the second rung. And then obviously savings comes after that. You should possibly be looking at longer term savings as well as short term savings. And so for your retirement long term savings, you can probably afford to take more risk with that. Your short term savings, if it is for a new kitchen or an extension or whatever, that you can't take as much risk with that. So we would look at different ways of investing or taking care of that. But other than what we do is we obviously do budgeting, income and expenditure with people, so that they can work out where they can make savings in order to fund their retirement savings or their goal savings. There are no. I'm really sorry. I mean, money makeover sounds like there's going to be a quick, easy fix, and it's certainly right now people might not have that spare capacity. But I think it's something to really think about coming out of this, that actually what lessons have I learned? How can I reset my financial thinking rather than living paycheck to paycheck or thinking that, oh, that's not going to happen to me. I think this has proved that actually it can happen to everyone, and it's happened to everyone all at once.
The whole world.
That would happen.
Do you think that we're going to have a change in attitude towards things like consumerism, maybe shopping as a pastime and those kind of things?
I'm not convinced, to be honest. I think people have got very short memories, and I like to think that, yes, now I'm looking at shopping local, wasting less, and I really hope that I can continue those habits. I suppose it depends how long it goes on for. But I'm afraid human nature.
We like to acquire things, don't we, for our houses and our kids and our holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I love reading, like Marie Kondo. I love her books. There's another great book, I forget the author, called Affluenza.
Oliver.
The author. It was years. That's about years.
Love that book. Love it. And in that book, they talked about the fact that that if you've got like let's say, I don't know, parts of China that are getting more affluent, they aspire to be Westerners, and so they try and they spend all their salaries on nice handbags and designer stuff. But you've got somebody who lives in poverty in, say, Nigeria. They don't aspire to have a nice handbag. They aspire to have a bike. And it actually, what it showcased to me was that possessions are nothing to do with happiness. In fact, sometimes there's an inverse relationship between the two.
Well, I mean, I did say in the sort of blurb that there are some things perhaps a good way to wrap it up really is some things that we've noticed perhaps amongst our clients that makes them more, what makes people more financially successful, and one of them is keeping up with the Joneses will not make you wealthy,
or happy.
No, indeed. And it's just surprising how many people do not, they do save their money, and they don't have flashy cars or necessarily big houses. It's living within your means it sounds really old fashioned, but it is the way to financial success and happiness, isn't it? Because there is no greater worry. There is a move about financial well-being, because at the end of the day, you can do your yoga, you can do your meditation, but if you've got money problems, that worry doesn't go away. It will keep you awake at night. So there is no greater well-being after your health, your wealth. And it might sound crass to say it, but it is really important, because that's how we all survive day to day. And if you have got worries about that, it is going to impact on your mental health, keep you awake at night. It affects relationships. And we all make mistakes, and you've got to learn from them. I mean, I'm certainly not immune. I had a nice lot of credit card debt when I was in my 20s, and I got my first job, and I thought, I've got all this money to spend. It turned out I didn't really have that much money to spend. I just spent someone else's.
Well, it's nice to hear that you're human as well. What we'll wrap up with is a couple of book recommendations. So I'm going to give one, because there's one that just came to mind with what you've just said. So what you were just saying was that, if I've interpreted it right, that the people who are living within their means are quite often wealthy, like the hidden wealth, rather than the people who are wearing their wealth in a car that they can't afford. Or we just talked to somebody the other day, actually, Phil and I, who's here with me, and they're spending £1,200 a month on a car. I'm thinking that's bigger than most people's mortgages,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was within his means. It's all proportional, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't begrudge anybody, the right to spend the money they've earned. Absolutely not. But
to most people, that is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a car. But there's a really good book called The Millionaire Next Door. Have you ever read that?
No, I'll look that one up.
And it is about exactly what you just said. It's about invisible wealth. The guys that are living in a modest 3-bed semi with a 5-year-old car outside, they could be sitting there on millions because they've lived within their means all that time. And Phil and I know a couple of people like that are living very quiet lives. And actually, when in Herbie Lonsdale is a really good example of this. You can sit in Plato's next to the scruffiest, dirtiest farmer you've ever seen, and he's the one that's sitting on pots of money, not the guy with the Lamborghini outside the door. So I think that's good. But do you have one for us as well?
It might not be well, I've just finished a great one by Dominic Frisby, which is called Daylight Robbery. It's about the history of tax, but I don't think anyone will want to go. He is a comedian, but I don't know if anyone will want to go away and read that. But in relation
I'm make a note of it, though.
Coronavirus, I read Hans Rosling Factfulness, I think it's called. I just finished it. Yeah, I finished it recently, and I think that helps you get some perspective on all the statistics and things that are flying around, and like you say, to put things in proportion, and that around the world, for all these problems, we are still very lucky, in the United Kingdom, aren't we? And with the government to help our businesses, and a social sort of welfare system that can help support us. But yeah, that Factfulness book I really enjoyed. It helped me get a sense of perspective, and never take one statistic, and this applies to the stock market as much as anything, never take one statistic in isolation, because you always need something to compare it with.
And context as well. That's what you need, isn't it? And actually, you're the second person on the lockdown lessons that's recommended that book.
It's excellent. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't got time to read a book, just look at the Gapminder website that he created with his daughter and father-in-law. It's got like models. I mean, he's got a great TED talk as well, Hans Rosling. I've
seen that one, yeah. Amazing. And he's got such a lovely way with him, isn't he? He's following his own flowcharts and stuff.
And obviously he was an expert in public health, so it is really relevant right now.
No, it is really good.
I do just want to plug one thing, Sam.
Please go for it, Ruth.
We are doing an offer right now, because our guys are all still working, but they're not travelling, they're not networking, they're not having lots of unnecessary meetings. They're obviously necessary the rest of the time. So they've got a bit of time on their hands. So we're just doing an offer. It's on Facebook, 30 minutes chat with a financial planner. And we've had a few people take it up already and found it really useful. Anything you want to ask about, really.
Just free of charge?
Free, yeah.
Oh, that's great, Ruth.
CA and LA postcodes.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'll get you to, when we update this the post, I'll get you to give me the right information and we can get in touch with you. But yeah, I might even take you up on that one.
Yeah. Well, it might just give you an idea of something you can go away and check out. I mean, the biggest one that we always tell people is to get a state pension forecast and make sure you've paid all your NI and you've got no gaps.
I don't think I've paid any NI ever. I certainly was not relying on our government to help me retire.
Well, you're not, you and I are that far away, and they won't, they might.
I'm never retiring, ever.
Yeah, but you don't have to retire. You still get your state pension.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And it's worth a lot. It's worth more than you think.
I'm going to book a call. Good plug, thank you.
Yeah. Right.
It's been a pleasure to have you on today. You're a very straight talking person, and I think that the fact that you are a family business and so local, I think that will really appeal to a lot of people that are maybe floundering a little bit at the moment. They don't want to reach out to one of the the big money management companies and everything because they feel that their problems or their challenges are too small. And so actually going to a local business like yours, I think will really appeal to people.
Yeah, a lot of it you can do yourself. I mean, obviously, we charge a fee for helping people, and it depends at what stage in life you are as well. I mean, obviously, as people get older, they accumulate more wealth and want more help. So our clients, tend to be 40 plus at least, but we're happy to talk to anyone. Sometimes actually the advice you give people when they're younger is it's more important, but they can't afford to pay for it.
That's a good point. Actually, I might get Tess to give you a call. She's 22. I wish I'd had some money advice when I was 22.
Actually, from my experience, it might be anecdotal, but actually young people right now are actually quite savvy with money.
Are they? Yeah,
she's my generation were.
Well, I mean, she seems to have more than me.
Yeah, living through the 80s, when I was a teenager, living through the 80s, and credit was easy, and everyone lived on credit. That was a bad habit that just spilled over, really. And I don't think times have changed, and younger people are maybe less consumerist and more interested in experiences. And obviously, everyone's saving for a house at that age, and it's not easy. So, yeah.
That's good advice. Well, if only they knew a good estate agent. We'll leave that one there.
I don't know if they could all afford your houses, Sam.
Well, Ruth, thank you so much for coming on today to talk about money makeover. It's something everybody needs right now. I'm definitely going to be booking a call, and that's a really generous offer as well of yours. So thank you. Whilst your guys are just lazing around doing nothing, we might as well get them working.
I hope none of them are watching this.
Well, thank you. And we'll make sure we'll put all the contact details in the post. So thanks again, Ruth.
Great. Nice as well. Hope everybody enjoyed that. And I'm sure I'll see you all in person at some point. Hopefully not too soon.
I'm sure it will be
too long. I don't know.
Not too long away.
Everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye.